You may have heard of distractors when it comes to the OET reading test, but what exactly are they and how can you avoid getting caught out by them? Keep watching to find out. Hi there everyone, my name is Grace. I am your expert OET teacher and academic manager at Swoosh English. Welcome to this video. Now, distractors are definitely one of the main causes of problems for candidates in the OET reading test. They very often catch people out and cause them to lose marks. Now, you don't want to be one of these people. Don't worry, in this video, I'm not only going to explain to you what distractors are, but I'm also going to do some real OET practice test questions with you so that at the end of this video, you're able to identify distractors and more importantly, not get caught out by them. So let's get started. So what exactly is a distractor? Well, a distractor is information in the text which may contain words or phrases from one or more of the answer options, making it look like the correct answer. But the purpose of a distractor is to be misleading. Now, in order not to get caught out by them, it's important that you can spot them. So now we're going to look at some real OET reading questions and texts and have a look and find some distractors. Here's our first example question then. This has been taken from OET Reading Part C. The question asks, in paragraph 2, what difficulty is identified in the current use of prosthetics? Now let's just assume that we've read all of the answer options, we've identified our keywords, and now we go to the text. Now the correct answer to this question is option A. The amount of effort required prohibits certain patients from having prosthetics. And if we go to the text, we can see that the answer is stated in this sentence. But we do have some distractors in the other answer options. Firstly, B, patients with cardiovascular conditions are not allowed to have prosthetics. Well, if we go to the text, it says patients with serious conditions, for instance, heart disease, so a cardiovascular condition, are less likely to be eligible for an artificial limb. Now, this can't be the answer because in the option it says are not allowed to have prosthetics, and in the text it just says they are less likely to be eligible. However, this would count as a distractor because it mentions heart disease, and in option B it talks about cardiovascular conditions. So if you're not careful, you might see that word there, heart disease. If you don't read the sentence very, very carefully, you might be caught out and be led to believe that B was the answer. So it is very important that you read the sentence very carefully to make sure it actually has the same meaning as the answer option. Let's look at option C now. The variety of materials it takes to make the prosthetics is problematic. Now in the text, it mentions a complex mix of materials. So here are all the materials listed, and it mentions that they're a complex mix. So you might be led to believe that this complex mix or this variety of materials is problematic. However, it doesn't actually say in the text anything about these materials being problematic. So there, once again, we have a distractor. And option D, patients do not know how to properly care for the stump area. Well, if we go to the text, it does mention the stump area and it says it's at risk of infection and skin irritation. So it is vitally important the patient takes great care of the area. So once again, we've got words and phrases from the answer option mentioned in the text. The stump area, patient take great care. However, if you read the sentence carefully, you'll see that it doesn't actually have the same meaning. It doesn't say that patients do not know how to properly care for the stump area. It says it's important that they do know. So there, once again, we can see another example of a distractor. Now you can see in that particular example, we actually had distractors for all of the answer options in there. We could see that there were some words and phrases from each answer option mentioned in the text. However, when we read the sentences carefully and got a detailed understanding, we could see that those weren't the correct answers and they were in fact distractors. There's an example then of a Part C question which has many distractors. Let's take a look at another one now. So here is our next question, also taken from OET Reading Part C. In the final paragraph, what is said about touch sensitivity in relation to prosthetics? Here is our text, and the answer to this question is D. A robotic hand's functions will remain limited without touch. The reason we know this is the answer is because of this sentence here. So the text starts talking about the importance of touch, and then it says without the sense of touch, our dexterity is severely limited. So that's our answer, but we do have some distractors here. Option B, it is proven that algorithms can interpret brain signals. Now this is a distractor because if you go to the text, you'll see that the word algorithms is mentioned, and it also talks about brain signals. But on a closer inspection of this sentence, we can see that it's saying in theory. So whereas the answer option says it is proven, the text actually contradicts this because it says in theory. So once again, we've got some words or phrases from the option, but it's not actually the correct answer. Another distractor can be found in option C. Prosthetics are presently as functionable as human originals. Now the key word in this answer option is presently, because in the text, although it talks about prosthetics potentially in the future being the same or better than the human originals, so the one the amputee has lost, it says the aim to one day. So the aim for the future, it's not saying that presently they are as functionable. But this is kind of a distractor here because it's got some ideas from that answer option in the text, but you needed to make sure that you read it very, very carefully to see that it was in fact a distractor and not the correct answer. So hopefully those examples showed you exactly how the OET reading test, and especially in Part C, will incorporate distractors. So you will definitely see some answer options which have words or phrases which are also mentioned in the text. But you can see from looking at those examples how important it is that you read the text for detail and make sure you have a detailed understanding of exactly what it's saying so that you can identify the correct answer option. Now we've looked at some examples, I'm going to go over some OET reading don'ts. These especially apply to parts B and C to make sure that you don't get caught out by distractors. Number 1, don't accept the first answer you see. Make sure you read the text carefully and eliminate any incorrect answer options as you go. Number 2, don't select an answer option simply because you see similar words and phrases in the text. As you saw from those examples, those are distractors. They are there to catch you out. So it's very important that you, as I said, eliminate incorrect answer options and read the text very carefully. Number 3, don't skim read in OET Reading Part C. So in order to answer these questions correctly, you need to have a detailed understanding of the text. Remember, skimming is fine if you just want to get an overview, a quick idea of what the text is about, but for Part C, you're not going to identify the correct answers unless you're reading for detail. Number 4, don't spend too long on a difficult question. If you're really struggling to answer one, just leave it, move on to the next one. You can always return to it at the end if you have time. And number 5, never leave an answer blank. So if you have found a question particularly difficult and you've struggled to answer it, at the end before the test finishes, just make sure that you've at least guessed. So it can't hurt to guess in OET Reading Part B and C, so it's always best to do that if you can. So that's it for this video. I hope that you now have a much better understanding of what distractors are in OET reading and you feel confident that you'll be able to identify them when you are in the reading test. Now remember, it's very important before you take your OET test that you do plenty of practice. If you are looking for a preparation course with practice materials like mock exams, live classes, video courses, and much more, then head on over to our website www.swooshenglish.com and take a look at our OET exam preparation courses. They have everything you need to get you prepared for each of the OET subtests. So head on over and take a look. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Happy studying and goodbye.